Parker Landing Petroglyphs are a set of Native American petroglyphs that I have no hesitation in talking to you about. They are well known and visited often, and I've seen countless photos, videos, and reports on them from everyone from kayakers to professionals. I'm not going to go overboard with showing you some super detailed, smaller glyph pics, as I want you to look forward to the new recording of them that will be coming out within the next year or two, and they will have very detailed pictures and photogrammetry. The petroglyphs are located in Parker's Landing, Pennsylvania. There's a historical marker about a mile from the site, and this is how it reads, quote, "Many generations of native people visited rocks along the Allegheny River near here to inscribe images of humans, animals, mythological creatures, and abstract forms. The number and variety of designs and the undeveloped surrounding landscape make them unique. Although submerged most of the year, they provide a significant record of the legends and beliefs of people who lived and traveled in Pennsylvania thousands of years ago." Unquote. What will you find? You'll find indigenous petroglyphs and a few historic carvings as well, where the earliest of those dates is about mid-1850s. But compared to most locations, there's very few historic carvings. And that's good because it's federally illegal to desecrate, violate, or vandalize, as in adding your own inscriptions to an area. If you do, you're just being an ass. Parker petroglyphs are located in a site that would be considered stereotypical of where you would expect to see a Native American petroglyph. They're directly on the Allegheny River, as in directly. Now, these petroglyphs are unique and they're underwater for all but 3 months of the year. They're exposed to some heavy water flow, some ice getting across them all winter, other environmental factors. Yet, they persevere and they remain very clear and distinct, and easy to see for most of them. But these will fade with the different conditions over the years. These are said to have been carved between 500 BC and 1749. The upper number is because de Celeron expedition saw and recorded them in 1749. That makes it a concrete date where they were first witnessed by expeditioners. Now, that's a wide range, and more appropriate and accurate, probably between 500 BC for a starting time period, but it appears that these were used over a very long time. These weren't just a decade visit to this area, probably by the Monongahela people. These were carved and visited probably over 1,000 years or so. In total, there's 175 petroglyphs found in this rock set, and it makes it a very rich site for archaeology. What petroglyphs are visible on these rocks? Bird, fish, river otter, mythological water panther representation, turkey, crayfish, other animal and animal tracks, human figures, and lots of mythological figures as well. I mentioned before in a previous video, not sure if you remember, but those mythological figures or animals will most likely have a heart line going from outside to the inner of the figures. Most human figures do not have that. Mortal versus immortal. The heartline concept was first explained to me by Ken Burkett, friend and archaeologist who had invested countless hours to recording this site, and the heartline was clearly visible whenever you get to Parker Landing to see the petroglyphs. It is believed that early indigenous gathered in this area. These may have been carved by elders or holy men of a tribe. They could have been used for storytelling, to teach traditions, teach beliefs and values, teach skills, to reinforce their self-identities and the characteristics of the tribe. This area is an area where it's believed indigenous would gather in the summer for fishing, hunting, get-togethers, informal tribal family meetings, socialization, celebration, trading, discussion of politics and planning, obtaining needed supplies for the rest of the year, food sources. These were regular get-togethers that accomplished quite a bit. The Eastern State Rock Art Research Association held a conference at Foxburg, Pennsylvania in August, and as part of the conference field trip day, they toured the Parker's petroglyphs. Many new individuals were able to see the unique glyphs. People from Missouri, New Hampshire, Connecticut, North Carolina, many traveled a good distance. One attendee to the recent Eastern State Rock Art Conference and friend, Amelia Zitka, stated, quote, "The Parker's Landing petroglyphs are like signposts from the past. We may not understand their meaning today, but they would have been significant to the indigenous community living in the area long ago." Unquote. She also stated something to the effect of it was so hot on field trip day that she almost wanted to jump into the river and look for additional petroglyphs. She wasn't lying about the heat that day. So these petroglyphs have an impact on individuals that are able to visit and see them firsthand and appreciate them and respect them. They can also be seen in a few other areas. With hope, there will be soon more highly detailed examinations for people online. Other possibilities: the Foxburg Inn runs a pontoon ride, and I believe the ride visits several historical locations along the Allegheny River, including these petroglyphs when they are not underwater. You may also see some actual petroglyph casts that can be seen at the Jefferson County History Center in downtown Brookfield, Pennsylvania. Ken Burkett, a Carnegie Museum field associate and lifelong archaeologist, worked alongside the late Ed Kaufman, and they worked extensively with the recording of these petroglyphs and in efforts to keep them preserved. He has described them once by saying, quote, "Parker's Landing is pretty much pristine yet." In that same interview with Renata Signorini, Ken expressed, quote, "It's a real treasure for this area. Places where Native Americans actually stood, lived, and interacted are very rare," unquote. And this is an excellent way to explain the area. It's a true treasure. Let's be thankful that these areas were inscribed by the first peoples. They left traditions and records for others to see well into the future. October is Archaeology Month. Let's get younger people more involved in archaeology and in these topics to build spirit, character, and newer generation of young explorers and preservers. How can we get them involved? Well, let's share some of these various Native American videos, some different types of archaeology opportunities. Maybe lie to them and tell them there's money in it. Just kidding, it has its own rewards. Let's appreciate these unique Parker petroglyphs and please treat them with reverence and respect that they deserve. Appreciate them from a distance to help preserve the history and heritage.